Hello, my name is Elkrief, and in this video I'm going to talk about how to love someone. So, if we want to love someone, we simply need to start with the question, why do I not love them? What is it about them that I don't love? What stories am I telling when I'm around them? See, when we don't have any reason not to love someone, we're left loving them. It's that simple. If we have no reason not to love, it's just our nature to love. So if you're with somebody and you feel anger towards them or judgment or a lack of love with them, it's generally because you have some story about them. More specifically, it generally means that you have some story about how they're not good enough or they're doing something wrong. So the most common reason why people want to love someone is when they're in a relationship with them. So I'm going to speak about that a little bit more specifically. But everything that I speak about in terms of relationships or romantic relationships can really be applied for everything or everyone. So in relationships, we tend to have an idea about the perfect way to do pretty much everything. We have the right way to cook, how much they should clean, the right thing to say, the perfect way to sleep with us, the perfect thing to say, what they should do in this situation, how they should interact with the children, how often they should call us, all of that, right? We have so many ideas about the perfect way to say and do things that we're constantly comparing what our partner does with our idea of the right way. So for example, if we think that the perfect way to interact with our children is for them to go to their soccer games and drive them places, and if they don't have time to do that or they don't feel like doing it at some point, we think they shouldn't have done that, they should have done that, or they don't love them enough, or they're not a good enough father, right? Or maybe we have an idea that they should always clean up after themselves, and then when we don't, we say they're not good enough, they don't care enough, something, right? So whatever story it is for you, just take a moment now and look. Think about the person that you're trying to love, and then see, what stories do I have about how they're not good enough, or how they aren't acting how they should be, right? Or how they're not perfect or something, or what they're doing wrong. Take a moment now and just look. Okay. So now ask yourself a couple of questions about it, now that you've located what you think they're doing wrong or what they're not good enough at. And see, well actually before we even go into questioning it, just look at how you feel when you think those thoughts. Right? When you think about what they're doing wrong, when you think about what they're not good enough at, how do you feel? Maybe you feel resentment, maybe you feel disappointed, maybe you feel lacking in your relationship, right? So it doesn't feel good to judge our partner. It doesn't feel good to constantly be comparing our partner and the way they act to our ideas of perfect. It just doesn't make for an enjoyable relationship or just an enjoyable experience ourselves. Right? And especially not for them also, because when we resent them, when we judge them, we also tend to treat them without love. So, if you don't want to experience that, if you want to experience more love in your relationship, then you need to be willing to question whether your judgments about them are true and useful. Right? So, now look at the judgment that you have about them, what they shouldn't be doing, and what they're not good enough at, and all that. And now look. do you know with absolute certainty that they know what your idea of perfect is? Right? So sometimes we might think they should call me once a day or twice a day. They should call me from work. They should this, that. But maybe our partner doesn't even know what we want, what the perfect thing is to us. Right? We just assume they should know. But how are they supposed to know? So that's one thing. So how are they supposed to act a certain way if they don't even know how we want them to act? The second thing is, look to see whether you're using them in a specific moment. Right? So basically, when we look to our partner to make us happy, right? When we're effectively using them to make us happy, then when we're not happy, we judge them for not being good enough. So for example, when maybe we want intimacy from our partner. So we want them to be intimate with us in a certain way so that we can be happy. And so we constantly are judging them because we're not happy. It doesn't make us happy. But in that moment, we're not thinking about them. We're not thinking about, are they enjoying it? Are they comfortable in that situation? Right? Maybe they don't want to cuddle. Maybe they don't want to be intimate the way we want to be intimate. We're purely thinking about how this affects me. So we're saying, I want you to change to be how I want you to be. Right? But if we want them to change so they can be how we want them to be, then we can't get angry at them when they want us to change to be how they want us to be. Right? So for example, let's say we're sitting watching a movie. You want to cuddle, they don't want to cuddle. Right? So you judge them because they don't do what you want. But he might think, if he does cuddle, then he's not doing what he wants. And he'll judge you because you're forcing it on him. So when you're making demands of your partner, look to see whether you're being selfish in that moment, when you're not taking them into consideration. Right? Another thing is, look to see whether the reason why you're not loving them in a specific moment is created by the facts or your thoughts about the facts. So if they don't put away their dishes, if they don't clean up after themselves, just look and see. So you're angry in this moment. You're angry because he didn't do what he should do. And then see, if I didn't have that thought, how would I feel in this moment? I would just pick up the dishes, clean them, and I'd be fine, no resentment. But as soon as I have the thought that says, he should have done that, bam, anger. So what do I want to experience? Do I want to feel angry at him? Or do I want to be at peace? Where is this anger coming from? His actions or my thoughts about his actions? And when you can see that it's your thoughts about his actions or her actions, then you can stop blaming the other person for your suffering, and instead you can blame your own thoughts. Right? It lets your partner off the hook a little bit. Right? Because you see it's not their action that created your resentment. It's only your thoughts. Right? Another thing that you can ask yourself is, once you're aware of what you think they're doing wrong, ask yourself, could somebody else really love that trait? Could somebody else really like it for their partner to act that way? Right? So then we see, are they really not acting good enough? Or are they just not acting how I want? It's just because I want it that way, does that mean it's the best way? Right? So you can try these types of things, and don't limit yourself to just these questions that I asked or that I offered you. The most important thing when you're not feeling love for somebody is to discover why. Right? To question what story is going on in this moment. Because when you don't have that story, when you're just with your partner, when you're with someone without any story about them, you're fine with them. It doesn't have to be some exaggerated love like, I love them so much and this is so wonderful. It can just be, you're with them and you're connecting and you're just enjoying it. Right? But then as soon as you have a judgment about them, it's gone. So when you're not loving someone, look to see why. Look to see what story is there. And once you find the story, then the opportunity is there to question it, to see whether it's true, to see whether it's a fact, to see whether they know, to see whether they could even control it. Even if they wanted to do what we want, could they actually do it? Right? So see how that goes, and then let me know how it works out for you. See you soon.